Hi, my name is Meg Honor, and I am a 7th and 8th grade science teacher at Immaculate Heart of Mary School in Indianapolis, Indiana. In July of 2018, I had the honor of attending the National Geographic Educator Summer Institute in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where I learned the Geo Inquiry process. I was inspired to bring this back to my classroom and introduce it to my 7th grade science classes.
When Mrs. Honor started teaching us about Geo Inquiry, she introduced us to all 5 phases before we got started. The 5 phases are ask, collect, visualize, create, and act.
A little bit more about collect, and we already have a question, we'll kind of have some better ideas of where our research can go.
We started thinking about our Geo Inquiry project when we started our Natural Resources unit in Mrs. Honor's class. Mrs. Honor gave us worksheets to help us discover a problem in our community or school. Each student wrote their own question on the discussion board. Once we had a large pool of questions, we narrowed it down to 3 possible options. We discussed how each would work and voted on which question we wanted to use. Our Geo Inquiry question was, how can we reduce food waste to IHM?
Once we had our question, we moved to collect. In this phase, students split up into 3 groups. Our groups were why, which determined why students were wasting food at lunch, how much, which calculated how much students were wasting, and solutions, which collected information on what solutions could be put into place in the future. Before we could begin collecting data, we had to get permission from our principal. She allowed us to talk to classes and collect data during lunch periods. She was very impressed with our leadership and even complimented us during morning assembly in front of the whole school. To collect data, we sent out surveys to grades. We went to lunches to ask questions and weighed the food waste from each lunch. The first day we collected food from all grades except our 2nd grade because they were on a field trip. The total amount of food waste we had was 16.2 pounds and the total amount of liquid waste we had was 14.8 pounds. So in total that day we had 31 pounds of food and liquid waste. Next, it was time to evaluate our data, visualize it, and share it with the school.
After we had all our initial data, we needed to share it with the school. For visualize, we took the data we collected from the collect phase and made pie charts showing how much food we wasted. Also, we asked the students if they wasted food because they didn't like it, didn't have enough time, or because you were full. In the create phase, we made pie charts about that. For create, we split up into committees. There were announcements, IHM TV, pan flips, and solutions. For announcements, 6 students were able to talk individually to each homeroom and told them about the problem and talked about solutions. For IHM TV, we made a video informing the students of IHM, because IHM TV is the YouTube videos we make about school events and activities. The pamphlets group made pamphlets for all the students to take home to their parents. The solution group brainstormed possible solutions and ways to engage our school in our efforts. They came up with several ideas but settled on one idea to get people to actually work on this every day. We decided to do a surprise check one day towards the end of our project and see which lunch group wastes the least amount of food and offer them a prize. This would make people focus on not wasting food and wanting to make a difference.
After we shared our story with the school, we decided to do another collection of food and liquid waste at lunch with all grades. This was about 2 weeks after our initial data collection. Even with our 2nd graders, we had less food waste. The amount of liquid waste was 13.4 pounds, and the amount of food waste was 11.2 pounds. So in total, our food and liquid waste was 24.6 pounds. After the visualize phase, we started acting. We put up posters around school, had students take surveys, and even had a contest. The contest was seeing which grade had the least amount of food waste. When we collected data from each lunch period, we discovered that 7th and 8th graders had the least amount of food waste. The 7th graders probably did the best because we were the most passionate about reducing food waste. The posters were colorful, and very inspirational. We hung the posters all around the entire school. Students observed the posters and tried to have less food waste.
Students have continued to show their passion for reducing our food waste at our school. We're continuing to raise awareness and are looking into the possibility of implementing composting in our school. I'm incredibly proud of my students and cannot wait to see how Geo Inquiry continues to impact our community.